Welcome to the Unit 5 Section 2 video on scatterplots using technology. Recall, a correlation describes a relationship between two data sets. There are two ways to describe correlation. You can describe it by its trend, which would be positive, negative, or no correlation, and you can describe it by its strength, either perfect, strong, or weak. Correlation can be more specifically described by a mathematical value called correlation coefficient. The correlation coefficient is a number r where it is some value either equal to or between -1 and 1 that describes how closely the points in a scatter plot cluster around a line of best fit. So let's look at some of the properties of the correlation coefficient. R is a value in the range of -1 is less than or equal to R, which is less than or equal to 1. If R equals 1, the data set forms a straight line with a positive slope. If R equals 0, the data set has no correlation. If R equals -1, the data set forms a straight line with a negative slope. So if we have no correlation, we would have some R value approximately 0. So you can't tell if it's increasing or decreasing, and the relationship around the data is weak. We have positive correlation, either weak, strong, or perfect. And the more perfect the data becomes, or the more the data appears to fall along a straight line, the closer to 1 we get. On the other end, we have negative correlation, which can either be weak, which is a value closer to 0 in the negative direction, strong, which is closer to -1, or perfect, where the value itself is -1, meaning every point falls along a straight line. Recall that a scatter plot shows two data sets as one set of ordered pairs. A trend line, or line of fit, is a model for the data. Some trend lines will fit a data set better than others. One way to evaluate how well a line fits a data set is to use residuals. A residual is the signed vertical distance between a data point and a line of fit. The closer the sum of the squared residuals is to 0, the better the line fits the data. So this is what a residual looks like. It is the distance from the line of best fit that the data point falls. The least squares line for a data set is the line of fit for which the sum of the squares of the residuals is as small as possible. So the least squares line is a line of best fit. A line of best fit is the line that comes closest to all the points in the data set using a given process. Linear regression is a process of finding the least squares line. So basically the long and short of a line of best fit is we want to create a line that is going to get as close to every data point as possible for all the data points that's in your scatter plot. If we can achieve that, then we can have the best fitting line to provide us with estimates when we use that line, and more specifically using the equation of that line to make projections or estimations. Now you can create scatter plots using a graphing calculator. We can use a piece of technology such as a TI-84 to perform linear regression. This is not something that you have to do by hand. A TI-84 Plus can be used to create the scatter plot, find the line of best fit and its equation, and find the correlation coefficient. So all of these things can be given to you using technology as a tool to find your equation for your line as well as your correlation coefficient. So in example 1 here, the table shows the recommended dosage of a particular medicine as related to a person's weight. We're going to graph a scatter plot of the given data, draw the trend line, then predict the dosage for a person weighing 240 pounds. So here we have our data. The first thing you're going to do is enter your data into your TI-84. So you're going to press Stat on your calculator, and you're going to select the first menu item, which is Edit. In L1, enter the first weight and then press Enter. Continue entering all the weights. These are your X values that you're putting into this table. Use the left arrow to move to L2, and then enter the first dosage, press Enter, and then continue entering all the dosages. So the third screen here is what your calculator will look like once you've entered all of your data. The next step is to view the scatter plot. You're going to press second, y equals. You're going to select the first menu item, plot 1. You're going to select on, the first type, and the plus mark. You're going to press zoom, and then select the 9th menu item, which is zoom stat. And you should see a scatter plot of the data. From here, you're going to press mode. Make sure that stat diagnostics is turned on. So you're going to see that as the menu item that is just a couple before the set clock. The set clock's pretty easy to see on your screen. Stat diagnostics is 2 above that. So you want to make sure that is turned on. To find the trend line, you're going to press Stat. You're going to select the Calc menu, and you're going to select the 4th menu item and press Enter. The 4th item being linear regression of AX plus B. This gives you the A and the B in the trend line. Your A is your slope, and your B is your y-intercept. In step 4, you're going to press y equals. You're going to input the full value of your slope and your y-intercept in the form ax plus b, or mx plus b, as you are more familiar with. You're going to press graph, and your trend line and scatter plot are both graphed for you. Then you're going to press the variables button, VARS. You're going to select the Y variables menu. You're going to select the first menu item, which is function. You're going to select Y1 and enter 240 and press enter. And this is going to give you the estimate using your trend line or your equation of your trend line that the dosage is about 95 milligrams. Now, one quick note, when you are looking at your A and B values in step 3, you may have noticed that the last value the calculator gave you was R. This is your correlation coefficient. And in this example, your correlation coefficient was approximately 0.995, so there is a strong positive correlation. Now, using a TI-84 is all well and good, but you probably noticed there are a lot of steps involved, and it's not incredibly straightforward how to get your trend line in a TI-84. It's important to know how to do it because sometimes the TI-84 is all you've got on hand, but there are easier ways, and one easier way is to use an online graphing utility. So there was no need to manually calculate anything by hand when you did it in a TI-84. Your calculator did all the heavy lifting. But it did take several steps to create your scatter plot. So we are going to use an online graphing utility such as Desmos to get the same information but more quickly. So we're going to use the same example we did with the graphing calculator. All the data is the same. We're just going to go through the same process with Desmos. So the first step is to go to desmos.com and click on Graphing Calculator. Once you are there, you're going to create a table by typing the word table into box 1. When you type the table, you will automatically have a table pop up, and you're going to put all your data into the table. Once you have all your data into the table, you're going to select the Zoom Fit button, which is on the lower left-hand corner of your box 1, and that is going to zoom you to your data on your graph. Then, in box 2, you're going to create a line of best fit by typing y sub 1 and then the tilde sign mx sub 1 plus b. And when you type that in, you're going to automatically have some statistics and parameters pop up. Here you have your correlation coefficient, r equals 0.9954. You also have your slope and your y-intercept. And your trend line is also plotted for you. Now that you have your trend line, you can select along your trend line to get values, and you can click on the graph at x equals 240 to find that the dosage is about 95 milligrams. Thanks for checking out my video in the Foundations in Algebra series. You can subscribe to my channel. I've got the next video queued up for you, and if you need to check out any of the videos in the course, I've got the course playlist for you here as well. Thanks for watching.